A very good morning to everyone. Welcome to Transformation with a New Lens, Discover Modern Integrated ECM webinar. First and foremost, we would like to say thank you very much for joining us today. For your information, this is a webcast event. Therefore, you will be on listen mode only throughout the session. If you have any question, feel free to type your question in the question section. We will answer your question during the Q&A session. If we can't answer on time, we will answer your questions via the email. This is a recorded session, and the recording will be published on our YouTube channel and our website. Without further ado, let me introduce Jenna to the stage. Jenna, over to you.
Thank you, Takif. Hi there, a very good morning to everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join our webinar today. So this time around, we will be sharing with you on one of our solutions, which is to discover modern integrated system ECM with M-Files. So are you currently struggling with the complexity of your current system? Or your system is not user-friendly? Or even you are always depending on your vendor in terms of any configuration that is required? If so, this webinar is for you. Now, before that, let me introduce you to the speakers of today. So the speakers of today is myself. My name is Jana. I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager from EDMS Consultants. So with me here today is Shah. Shah is our Senior Application Consultant, and Takif, our Application Consultant. All right, so the overview of our webinar for today is that we'll be sharing the agenda. We'll be sharing with you the overview on EDMS and the services. What is ECM? What is M-Files? And also the first demo session for today, whereby we'll be sharing you on more on the enhanced user experience with M-Files. We'll have a quick question and answer session. We'll have a 5 minutes break, and then also during the second session of the demo, where we will be sharing with you more on how you're able to enhance your procurement processes with seamless integration. And we will have a quick question and answer session. All right, so just a little bit overview of our company. So we have been in the industry for more than 20 years. So we are experienced in providing digital transformation solutions and services in enterprise content, document, and also business process management. So we assist our clients in automating and also streamlining their business processes to ensure that at the end of the day, our clients achieve improved business profitability and productivity. So in terms of our partnership with M-Files, we are actually one of the top 50 partners around the world, and also the first Malaysian partner of M-Files to be certified as an M-Files delivery partner. All right. So EDMS as well, we have extensive experience in the following verticals, as you can see over here: oil and gas, engineering, manufacturing, power utilities, sports infrastructure, and also banking and healthcare. So EDMS Consultants, we are registered vendor with Petronas, Ministry of Finance, TNB, and also Telecom, and we are known as a regional solution provider in the Asia Pacific region. So aside from us providing our solution and services in Malaysia, we also provide our services and solutions in Thailand, Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia, Australia, and more. In terms of our services, these are our main four focus services. Professional ICT consultancy and support is more to us having a consultation with our clients on their requirements or what kind of a solution they require, whether it is a document management system, records management system, or even a business process management. Aside from that, we also provide HR consultancy and talent acquisition, risk, safety, and environmental services, and also asset management services and asset management solutions. So throughout the years, for all of our services, these are our overall clients. But if we were to look at our digital transformation clients, these are our digital transformation clients. So here is where they have switched their ways of work from having to deal and manage their documents and information manually with disconnected systems to having all of their processes automated, integrated, and at the end of the day, they were able to go paperless. Now, I would like to just share with you some of the feedbacks and also the quotes that we have received from M-Files customer with the SAP integration. So SSAB, they are a manufacturing steel company. So they have decided to go with M-Files solution to lead them to a new journey into digitizations and collaboration. So they have more than 14,000 employees across 50 countries, and they have been using M-Files since 2013 to assist them in their critical business processes, which includes their SAP archive and also their material certificate management. Aside from that, we also have OMV. OMV is an Austrian oil and gas company. Is Austrian oil and gas company. So they are using M-Files because it was easy for them to actually link it to their master Oracle database, their SAP, their internal identity management systems, and their multiple industry-specific data stores without without the need to hire a system integrator. So this system, M-Files, has actually been adopted by thousands of employees across multiple countries for OMP. And one another reason also why they actually chose M-Files is aside from the easy integration, it is also in terms of their easy document management, easy user adaptability, and at the end of the day, it's compliance related. And another one is Caverion. So Caverion is Finland's largest provider of industrial operations and maintenance services. One of the reasons why they selected M-Files in the first place is because it was able to integrate with their SAP master data. Now, I would like to share with you more on what is ECM all about. So ECM is also known as Enterprise Content Management, where it is a definition of a system that helps you to strategize your current methods that you're currently using to capture, manage, access, integrate, store, and also deliver your content and document processes. So an ECM system, it actually helps you to manage all of your unstructured information that is typically very critical for your organization's operation. And it comes in many different forms, such as maybe documents, emails, invoices, contracts, and also many other mediums. So ECM is like a cornerstone to your operational excellence. So now, what is M-Files? M-Files is known as a dynamic enterprise content management system. Why? Because of its unique ways of storing documents in the system based on what the document is rather than where it is located. Aside from that, M-Files also helps to eliminate information silos and it provides quick and easy access to the right content from any core business system and devices. So just a little quick facts on M-Files. So M-Files has been in the ECM market for more than 10 years now. They have more than 500 employees around the world, more than 300 resellers around the world, and also more than 9,000 customers all over the world. So their main office can be found in Finland, US, UK, France, Singapore, Australia and Canada. Now, I'll be sharing with you more on M-Files' accolades. So just this year itself, M-Files has actually won in terms of Business Intelligence Group's Artificial Intelligence Excellence Award program. So what is this award all about? So the big Artificial Intelligence Excellence Awards, they actually set out to recognize organizations, products, and even people who bring artificial intelligence to life and apply it to solve real problems. So M-Files was actually recognized for its innovation to the M-Files metadata-driven document management platform, which includes also their M-Files Smart Migration and more. Another one is in terms of the Gartner report. So M-Files has been voted as the most visionary in terms of content services platform. And also another one that I can share is in terms of Gartner Peer Insights. So M-Files as of March 31st this year, M-Files has been voted as the voice of the customer, as 94% of the Gartner Peers Insight responded that they would actually recommend M-Files as their content services platform. And another one that I can share with you is in terms of the Forrester's report. M-Files has been voted as a strong performer for their Forrester Wave for their content platform in Q2 2021. So these are all for the accolades of M-Files. Now I'll be sharing with you more on the features. So the features of M-Files is that it provides us as users a centralized document repository. So what we mean by this is that all documents that are required for you is all in one system. Aside from that, M-Files also comes with AI smart metadata and AI smart migration. So AI smart migration, it actually enables a more efficient way for you to work, for you to work in today's hybrid reality. So through the power of AI, M-File Smart Migration easily and systematically migrates your documents from your external repositories. Aside from that, also in terms of the AI of Smart Classifier. So it helps to automatically classify and add metadata to the migrated content, and it enables knowledge workers to focus on the content that matters most and glean insights from the migrated data immediately. Aside from that, Emphasis feature as well, they have a dynamic view. So one document can be found in many ways. Document history and audit trail, which is very important in terms of keeping track of your documents. It also has automated business process management, offline availability, which is great for those who travel often, an integration hub whereby it shows, what kind of other systems and processes they're able to connect with. MFAS also supports multiple use cases. It provides you with a collaborative platform and also a flexible platform preference where our clients are able to choose whether they want it on cloud, on premise, or even hybrid. Now I'll be sharing with you the benefits of MFAS. So MFAS also comes with cloud-based. It has offline availability, rights management, effortless integration. It is a single source of truth, and it is easy for users to have access to updated contents. It helps to improve accountability and communication between users. And also high user adoption and customer experience, streamline integration with ERP. There's also work mobility whereby you're able to access the system via web or mobile. It enhances your content security. It increases the performance of your employees and also data-driven decisions. Improves regulatory compliance, and at the end of the day, it helps to eliminate information redundancy. Now, for the first session of the demo for this webinar, we will be showcasing to you on how easy it is for you to migrate all of your documents into M-Files and automatically categorizing each document. So from here, I will be passing it over to Shah on the demo.
Right. Thank you, Jenna. Let me share my screen. All right. So I hope everyone can see my screen. So, all right. So in this demo, I will be focusing on the features and capabilities of M-File as one of the ECM in the market. So I will first show you the basic features of M-Files, and then we will go through the workflow process and the AI engine that we have configured. All right. So Yep. So M-Files is actually an intelligent platform which can help your company to make smart connection across the business and automate your critical business processes, but while at the same time keeping information secure and control. So M-Files can be accessed to three medium. You can access M-File through desktop client, which you can see from my desktop. You can also access M-File from the web browser and the mobile application. So let me log in into M-Files and show you how it looks like. So M-Files is using a Vault system. So Vault is a centralized storage location for your documents and other objects. So its physical location is actually located in your server, which running M-File server. So regardless of your physical location, all users see the document vault as a directory on their local computer's M-Files drive, as you can see here. So if I double click this M-Files drive, it will bring me to all the vaults that I have access to. So today we will be accessing the ACM topic 1 vault. So once I double click this, I can I will need to log in, and it will go straight away to M-Files homepage. All right. So in this M-File homepage, as you can see, there are 4 tiles on the left side of this homepage. So the first tile is the browse area, which you can see there are my views, common views, external views, and other views. So it from here, from this view, you can create a from this section you can create a dynamic view where you can find all your documents. So the second tile is the recently accessed by me tile. So if you have all the document that you recently accessed, so it will be listed down here, so it's easier for you to look for the document tomorrow if you need to work on that document again. Assigned to me area, if you have any assignment assigned to you, in other words, if for example that document required an approval from you, you will receive that assignment or document under assigned to me area. Checkout to me tile is it will list out all the documents or object you are currently checking out. So it can be like an indicator to remind you that you have a document checking out, and you will require to edit those documents and check in back for other users to view the latest update of that document. So on the right side here, you can see a metadata tab. So every object or document that is uploaded in M-Files, it will be tagged to a metadata. So let me choose one document. So for example, invoice document. So this is the metadata card for this particular document. So this document has been classified into invoice class. So each class will have its own metadata properties. It will have its own properties. So if let's say I click on a different object or a different document, it will have a different set of properties. So the preview button here will show you the document that you selected in a recently accessed by me. So it is good because you can preview the document first before you checking out the document for editing. So it's to ensure that you are actually looking at the correct document. All right. So so one of the biggest complaint we receive from our customer that they do not know where the documents are, or they are spread all over the place, or when they find one, they do not know which one is the latest draft. But with M-Files, you can find your documents quickly using simple and advanced search here. So for example, I'm looking for a document which is created or uploaded for a supplier called ABC Sdn Bhd. So I can just search for ABC Sdn Bhd. So it will list out all the documents that come from ABC Sdn Bhd. So for example, if I'm looking for an invoice, so I can just add invoice keyword, click enter. So it will list out the keywords of ABC Sdn Bhd and also invoice. You can see that this document, the keywords of invoice is highlighted in the class, and the ABC Sdn Bhd is highlighted in the supplier properties. So M-Files also will search the keywords in the content of that document. So if I click preview, you can see that the keyword is also highlighted in the content of that document. All right. So I can also use an advanced search to look for the document. So for example, I already know that I'm looking for a purchase order. So I can look for class. So the document is purchase order. And then this purchase order is received from a supplier, which is ABC Sdn Bhd. All right. So once I click search, it will list out all the PO that we have received from ABC Sdn Bhd, showing from the metadata card. Okay, you can see this is the purchase order, and then this the supplier that I have selected in advance under the additional condition here, right? Okay, so you can also find your documents by navigating into the dynamic views under the browse area here, which allow you to filter and group your document in a way that makes sense to you. So for example, if I click on the purchase order view, it will list out all the purchase order that have been uploaded in the system. So this purchase order view has been filtered in order for it to only display document which is in the class of purchase order. So for example, I have this purchase order PO113. All right, so this is the preview of this document, PO number 113. I can also find the same document in a different dynamic view. So let's see, I go to all documents view, which will filter all the documents that I have in the M-Files, and also it will group based on the class of that document. So I'm going to go into purchase order and look for PO113. There you go. So this is the same document that I have shown you in the purchase order view. right? So flexible dynamic views give you many ways to find your document. So you're always finding the same document. Then you don't have to worry about which copies is the most recent. You can update the document. You can edit the document from any views that you have created, because it will always show you the latest update of the document, and the same document will be displayed, right? So M-Files, it manage your documents created internally and those you created by the external party. So saving and creating a document in M-File can be done in number of ways. So for example, you have a document that you have worked on, but then it's not being created from M-Files. You have a document created outside M-Files. So what you can do is you can select those documents. For example, I have this PO that I've received and save it in my desktop. I can just drag and drop it into M-Files to um, to upload it in and save it into M-Files. And M-Files, the current configuration over here, we have configured that it will suggest you the class of that document based on the AI that we have set up. So the class is purchase order, and then these are the properties that I have to fill up. So you can see that M-Files has suggested some of the properties, and I can just click create and it will be uploaded in M-Files. As you can notice, once when I um, upload a document to M-Files, a metadata card will appear. So this is the first step and the most important step that you need to do before you can upload or create the document into M-Files. So another way to create to upload a document into M-File is from your Outlook. So for example, you receive an attachment or an email with an attachment in an email. So you can straight away save this attachment into M-Files. As you can see, I have an M-Files ribbon here in my Outlook, since M-Files is integrated seamlessly with Microsoft, so that's why you will have this M-Files ribbon in your Outlook. So this attachment, so I want to save this attachment in M-File. So what I can do is I can just click this, and then you can see that I have an option to save this attachment into M-File. So I just have to choose the vault, the correct vault to save this attachment, and then you will require to select the class of this attachment. So for example, a purchase order, so the same set of properties will show up based on the class that you have chose. All right, discharge. All right. Okay, so for example, another way, for example, if you have a document received from external parties, for example, you have a PO and you have a lot of PO and you would like to upload it into M-Files in one shot. So you can utilize M-Files Smart Migration, which enables you to move files easily and systematically from external repository to M-File. So smart migration, I think Jenna also has mentioned this earlier. It can also be used with other M-Files intelligence services. So for example, like M-Files Smart Classifier, which can suggest the class of that migrated document, or you can use it with smart metadata, which it is used to extract critical information from your document content. We also have M-Files Discovery, which usually will be used together with Smart Metadata and Smart Classifier, where M-File Discovery will help to auto-populate the properties you have in a metadata card. All right. So in the next few minutes, I will show you the outcomes of how we connect Smart Migration, Smart Classifier, Metadata, and Discovery to each other. So as you can see here, I have a folder, a smart migration folder, which I have connected to M-Files. So I'm going to add these two documents, these two PO with a different PO number and using a different PO template into M-Files. So I'm going to add it into here. So the smart migration, which is running behind the scene, will capture the document in this folder, and in a few seconds it will upload it into M-File. So let me just refresh this. All right, and then go into unmanaged purchase order. So this is the dynamic view that I've created to capture all the documents in that folder. All right, so if I scroll down, you can see, so this is the PO that I have added to that folder, PO 0131, and also PO number 217. All right. So I will be using this PO throughout the rest of the demo. All right. So this PO currently is not associated to any workflow. So what I want to do next is I wanted to ensure that this PO has been taken action by the person in charge. So what I will need to do is I will associate this PO to a workflow, which is PO receive. Click save. All right. So as you if you notice, once I associate this PO to a workflow, the permission has changed into invoice reader. So only a certain user will have access to this PO compared to the other PO which has not been managed. Um, all users will still have access to this PO, right? Okay, so right now this PO has been received, and the next step is for to create an invoice for this PO. So for example, the work has been done and then you wanted to create an invoice for this PO. So once I change it to invoice creation and go back to my home page, I can see that this PO has been assigned to myself. So I have said that I'm the person in charge to create the invoice for this PO. So how I can create the invoice is by select this assignment and then create an invoice. So once I click create invoice, the class will be automatically select invoice, and this is the template that is available for the class of invoice. So I can just select those template and click next. All right, so choose the invoice date, and some of the properties like a PO number and the supplier is already auto-populated, and it has been transferred from the PO metadata card into the invoice metadata card. Let me just put some of these properties and then click create. So this invoice is currently checking out by me, so that's why it's appear under the checkout to me area. So if I double click it, it will open the invoice. So you can see that some of the properties in the template has been automatically populated based on the metadata card of that um, invoice in M-File. So this is the information in the metadata card of that invoice. So you can see that the date has been populated with the today date, the invoice number has been automatically generated in the system, and also the PO number has been automatically populated based on the metadata card of the invoice. So assuming that I have added the invoice and save it back, check in back to M-Files, you can see now once I've checked in the invoice has been assigned to me to move this invoice to the next date. So let us finish the workflow in the PO first. All right, so invoice has been created. It means that this PO has been acknowledged. So I can just before that, let me just choose the invoice document related to this PO. All right, and change the workflow to PO acknowledge and click save. So that PO will disappear from my assigned to me area since it has been acknowledged. So looking at this invoice, since it has been edited, it will need to be sent for a reviewing. So I can change the next state to a manager approval. So I'm sending this invoice to a manager so that it can approve the invoice before I send it out to the supplier. So I have logged in as a manager. All right, so once I refresh this, I can see the assignment appeared over here and assigned to me. So assignment is created for the manager to approve the invoice. So where can the manager find the invoice is by expand the invoice approval assignment, so he can see the document attached to this assignment. So he can preview the invoice, or he can check out the invoice for editing. So let's say that the manager is okay with the invoice and he wanted to approve the invoice. So he can go back to the assignment in a metadata card. He can just click mark it as approved, click OK and save. So electronic signature window will pop up. Okay, so the manager has to key in his M-Files credential in order to proceed approving this invoice electronically. All right, so by using electronic signature, you will have a better tracking of who actually has been approving the document. So for example, like this invoice, if you expand, you can see that this is the electronic signature which is signed by the manager. It means that the manager has approved the invoice by signing it electronically. All right, so the next step for this invoice is to create an invoice link. So you can see um, the assignment description. Sorry about that. So the assignment description is to kindly generate a share public link and paste it in a metadata card. This is how we created the workflow in this invoice class. So what I'm going to do is I want to share this invoice with the external parties, which is the supplier, but I wanted it to be sent out from M-File. So what I have to do is I have to generate a share public link first, so that the supplier can download the document without having to access to our M-File system. So once I've created the link, I can paste it here, and then I can key in the supplier email address. Okay, and click send to vendor, change it send to vendor, and click save. So M-Files will generate an email which consists of this link and send it to this email address. So let me go into my email, refresh it, and as you can see now I have received the invoice. So by clicking this link, it will bring me to this page where, as a supplier, I can download this invoice without having to go into our M-File system. So this is the invoice being generated earlier from M-Files, and right now the supplier has downloaded it and it can open from their Microsoft Excel. All right. Okay. So I can see that once we change the state of the workflow to send the email to the supplier, the workflow has automatically changed to awaiting for payment. All right. So the current state now of this invoice is awaiting payment. So in the invoices view, which I've created here, is I have created a master list by pulling out the properties in the invoice metadata to be displayed in the view. As you can see, I can see the current state of the invoice, a PO number related to the invoice, a payment term, and the supplier for this invoice. I have also embedded a simple report to this view to make it look like a dashboard, so that let me just filter this report first and update the report so you can see how the report looks like. So this is a simple report I've created, which is invoices by state. Okay, this report show you the number of invoices against the year that it has been generated. So you can see how many invoices is currently awaiting for payment and how many has been received. So this information is actually the data is actually from the list of invoices that in displayed in this left side of the page, right? So with this dashboard, with this view, the finance team in your company can have full overview of the status of all of the invoices that have been submitted, so it's easier for them to keep track which invoice is currently awaiting for payment, right? So M-Files functionality is not limited to what I just demo. So you can actually utilize M-Files in many ways. So you can also connect or integrate M-File with other third-party systems such as SAP, and also a collaboration hub such as Hubshare, which we will be showcasing this in the next topic of this webinar. All right, so I think that should be it for my demo. If you have any questions, feel free to write it in the question box, and we will answer it in the next session. All right, Jenna, I think that should be it from my side.
All right, thank you, Shah, for the presentation. So before we go for our 5 minutes break, do you have any questions? Any questions at all? Just feel free to type it on the question session, on the question box, and we'll be happy to answer it for you. Okay, all right. We have one question here. Can we scan the document and then it will also classify it in M-Files. I think, Shah, the question is for you.
All right. Yes, you can. So it's the same process what I've shown you. So instead of using smart migration, we can exclude that. You can create a folder specifically for all your scan document. It means that once you scan a document, it will go into that folder, and we will use a connector which is called a network folder connector, which will install it in it's like an application which will install it in M-Files, which will capture all your scan document in that folder, and we will use M-File Smart Classifier and M-File Discovery to learn all the documents that you have scanned, and then it will help you to auto classify the document in that folder. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Shah. So let's see if there's any other questions. All right. I think for this session, that is all for the questions. So before we go to the next demo, we'll go on for a quick 5 minute break. So please do take this time to relax yourself, and also we'll see you back later after this. All right, everyone. Hi there. Welcome back. Okay, so for the next session of the demo, we will be showcasing to you the typical procure to pay workflow where M-Files can be integrated with Hubshare and also SAP. So for this demo, I will be passing it over to Takif. Takif will be demoing to you on this session. Hi Takif, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jenna. So let me just share my screen. Right. Just give it a moment. Okay. I hope you guys can see my screen. So for this session, I will be showing you on how we can use M-Files together with the other third-party solutions. So for this demo, I will be using Hubshare and also SAP as the third-party solution. And the use case for this demo is something related to procurement. All right. And yep. So what you are looking at now is actually what we call Hubshare. And Hubshare is the collaborative platform so that you can work effectively with your external parties such as your customers, your vendors, and etc. Right. So assuming that this Hubshare is designed so that all the tender information will be provided by the owner inside this Hubshare, and I am the vendor, so I will be logging into this Hubshare portal as the vendor so that I can see is there any available tender which gets my attention. Yep. So let me just log in using my email here. Right. So the moment I log in into this Hubshare, I will be redirected to this home screen. All right. So for your information, Hubshare is really flexible. You can actually customize your Hubshare so that it will fit to your business use case. So for this demo, I have designed my Hubshare so that it will uh, show something like this. So as you can see here, this white box is what we call as the widget. All right. And I have created this widget so that it will list all the information for instance, the list of tender. And I have also created a widget so that my vendor can submit their proposal, submit their invoice, and I have also created a widget so that my vendor or my supplier can track their proposal that they have submitted. All right. So assuming that I am the vendor, right, and I am really interested with this particular tender, so maybe I can download document in order for me to know more about this tender. So in Hubshare, you can do something like this. All right, you can link external document from Hubshare. All right, so perhaps you wanted to link it with your tender brochure or something like that. All right, right. So back to Hubshare. All right, so let's say that I am really interested with this particular project, with this particular tender, then I can just submit my proposal here. So maybe I can give a name like proposal Econ ABC Engineering. All right, that should be good. Then I can just enter my name here, then my email. Then you can also design a widget so that your vendor can upload the file. Right, so I will be uploading my proposal here. right? Then everything is good. Then I can just click create. All right. So the moment I click create, uh, this particular submission or this particular information will be submitted to M-Files document repository, and I will be showing you on that in a minute. And if you can see down below here, if I can just click refresh button here, you can actually see that this is the proposal that we have submitted, and this is the status, which is proposal submitted. All right, so basically this is about Hubshare. Now, assuming that we need to go into M-Files as the one who is responsible attending all the submitted proposal, right? So let me just go into M-Files as the admin, right? So if I just click refresh here, if I just refresh my M-Files for a while, then if I can go to the tender proposal here, uh, you can see that this is actually the proposal that we have submitted. And if I expand this one, you can see this is the status, the workflow state, which is proposal submitted, right? If I expand the metadata properties information here, you can see this is all the information that we have actually keyed in just now. All right. So and this is actually assigned to me, and the assignment's description is kindly review the proposal and send for approval. So assuming that I wanted to review the proposal very quickly, then I can just use this preview features or preview tab here. Then you can just directly read your PDF document here without having to launch your external or third-party PDF reader. It's simple as that. All right. Then assuming that everything is okay, then I can just move to the next state, which is send for review. Then this is actually what we call as M-Files workflow. It is really comprehensive, and it is really flexible, so that you can customize the workflow according to your business requirement. All right. So now the workflow state is already changed to review in progress. So if I just expand this one, you can see that the state is already changed here as well. And if I expand this particular document, you can see that M-Files actually created a new assignment object. So if I just click this uh, assignment object, and if we go back to these metadata properties, you can see that this particular assignment is actually assigned to Alex Kramer. All right. So we can do something like this in M-Files. So now uh, let us log in as Alex Kramer. So this is the screen. So let me just refresh it for a moment. Right, as you can see here in the assign to me section, you can see that you have a new assignment, which is actually the assignment that we have created earlier. Right, so if I expand on this assignment object, you can see this is the particular document that we need to review. Right, then assuming that everything is okay, I can just review the document using this preview tab. Assuming everything is okay, then I can just approve this document uh, just by clicking this workflow state. Oh, I'm sorry. So I need to click on the assignment object. Then I can just approve by clicking this button. Right? Then maybe I can put some comment here. Then I just click save. Right? And in M-Files, we also have this electronic signature module. So this is actually really useful for your audit purposes, so that it will keep track all the approver, right? So you will actually know who is approving this particular document, right? So let me just key in my credential and then just click enter. And this particular assignment is now gone, which means that I have already completed my assignment. Right, so if we go back into our previous screen just now, so if we just refresh this part, you can see that the workflow state will be changed to approve, which is this. All right, so this is something we can do in M-Files. All right, and assuming that everything is okay. Now we will be moving into the next stage, which might be related to the procurement, and this is where we will be issuing a purchase order to this particular vendor. All right. So in this demo, I will be creating the purchase order from SAP, and then we will move that particular purchase order into M-Files, and then we can just continue our work by using M-Files. So this is the idea of the integration between SAP and M-Files. All right, so let us go into SAP. All right, and this is my SAP S4HANA. So if I go into my, this is actually a normal process in SAP. So if I go into my purchase requisition, so this is actually my purchase requisition. We are actually purchasing 2 units of aircon, and also we wanted to use their installation service. All right. Then, as you can see down below here, this is the purchase order uh, link to this particular purchase requisition. I have created both beforehand to save time. All right. So this is actually the 2 items here. All right. This is the vendor name, ABC Engineering Sindhyan Berhad. This is the PO number. All right. So next, we wanted to move all of this information, some of the key information from SAP into M-File. So in order to do that, uh, you can just click this button here. This is actually provided by the connector, right? So if I click into this, if I click this M-Files document management button here, it will display this particular message, which means that this particular object does not exist yet in M-Files. So we wanted to create it, we wanted to transfer it to M-Files. So we can just click continue here, right? Just give it a moment. Right. Another thing about this connector is that when it comes to M-Files and SAP integration, this connector also includes the M-Files embedded screen, which means there's no need for you to actually launch your M-Files application. You can actually just use your SAP uh, in order for just to use M-Files. So you can just use SAP to use M-Files. All right. But since if you are using single sign-on, there's no need for you to log in again. But since I am using a separate user credential, so this is the reason why this login page is displayed. So let me just quickly enter my credential. All right, just give it a moment. Then, as you can see here, we are actually going into M-Files just by using SAP, which is really, really interesting. And this is actually the purchase order that we have created. So if we click into this purchase order info object, we can see this is the metadata properties. The user interface is a bit different because we are actually embedding the web view of M-Files inside SAP, all right? But nevertheless, it's actually quite easy to use. All right. So this is the purchase order object. We have the purchase order number. We have we have the vendor name here. All right. So if we expand on this particular object, you can see this is actually the 2 items that we are purchasing from the vendor and also their service. All right, service material, which is the installation service. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, since we have moved this particular object, this particular purchase object into M-Files, so you can continue your work in M-Files without having to go back into SAP. So for instance, if I have generated my PO from SAP in PDF, so instead of keeping it in SAP, you can just upload it in M-Files. So in order to do that, you can just click this particular PO. Then you can just use this document upload, select file. Then you can choose your document. For instance, this purchase order. Then I can just click OK. Then I need to choose my class, which is purchase order document, right? And then some of the information will be automatically populated. And if everything is okay, then I can just click create here. Right, as you can see here, this is actually the purchase order, which is generated from SAP. You can also preview it here. And the best thing is that if you expand on this particular purchase order, you can see there's a relationship. So this purchase order is actually related to this document is related to this purchase order object, and which is also related to this particular vendor. So this is another interesting features in M-Files, which is the relationship. So at the end of the day, you can see all the link between the documents and object in M-Files. All right. So let's say, assuming that I wanted to upload another document, since we are using their service to install the icon, so we might need to have some sort of like a service contract. So I can just click into this purchase order. Then I can just click document here. Then I can use service contract template. Another interesting features in M-Files, which is template, and then some of the information will be automatically populated. So let's say that I wanted to rename this particular file as ABC Engineering Icon contract, and the contract, let's just assume we will be starting yep, somewhere around 30 June. Up until 20th June. All right, then after everything is okay, we can just click create. And if you notice here, this template is actually automatically using this contract workflow. So this is something you can do as well in M-Files. All right, so let me just click create, which will open the document for editing. All right, yep, I will create the document, and yep, all right. So basically, so if I open the document, you can see that the information is here. All right. Right, I will show you in the native application as well. All right, so perhaps it it is not the best view to show it in this web view. All right, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so since let's say everything is okay, then I can just check in the document. All right, so this is something you can do in M-Files. If you expand this particular object, you can see it, again the link, right? So if I go back into my screen here again, you can see that I can also view the same document. All right, so you can see that we have the purchase order document here, the contract document here. So if I go into this all vendors views, all right, instead of tender proposal view, then if I expand this ABC Engineering SIN number HUD, you can actually, at the end of the day, you can see the same document as well. All right. Then you can see the contract, right? So if I view the contract, uh, right? So if I just check out this document, you can see that some of the information will be automatically populated, right? Like this one, the date, all right, the termination date, and etc. So this is one of the powerful thing about M-Files. You can use template. You can key in all the document inside this metadata, then it will be automatically populated here. So for instance, it will automatically populate EDM as consultant, the date, and etc. All right, so that is service contract. Then maybe you maybe you wanted to have some sort of internal approval before handing over to your client. Then you can just make your own a custom workflow for this demo. I will send it for approval. Right, so this is something that we can do, just like I mentioned. The purchase order object is created from SAP and transferred into M-Files. Then all the uh, comprehensive document workflow will be done within M-Files only. Right, so it is really interesting. And as you can see here, the moment I send it for approval, it will change that particular document into PDF. So this is really powerful. And then, for instance, that if everything is okay, if you wanted to send this particular purchase order to your client or to your vendor, you can just right click and then you can share email and PDF. Oops, sorry. And then you can send as PDF by email. Then a new email window will be pop up. Yep, it will be something like this. Then you can just write all the emails, right? And for your information, if you have received any new assignment, it will notify you via the email. Something similar like this. Alright, so let us go back into our screen just now. Right, so assuming that everything went well, then this is the time where your vendor need to provide you with an invoice. Right, so instead of replying to your email, they can just utilize Hubshare. All right, so let us go back into Hubshare. All right, let me just refresh this Hubshare for a while. Then in this on this invoice submission widget, you can pretty much use. You can use this widget. For instance, I can invoice aircon. I can just give it a name, invoice number, some random invoice number. Then purchase order, which purchase order should I select it? All right, want to add 6. Then I can just upload the files, which is the invoice. Right. So after everything is okay, then I can just click create. Then this particular invoice will be sent to M-Files. Right. So if you go back into M-Files, if you go back into M-Files, then you can see that this is actually the invoice that have been submitted to from your vendor. All right, then the next step would be I can just if you can see here, this is actually assigned to me, right? Then I need to assign a PIC. All right, so let me just assign one person here. Right, so previously I show you how you can uh, assign automatically, right? Using the previous workflow, but for now, I just wanted to show you how you can manually assign someone. So this is actually how it is performed, right? Then after we assign someone, then you can just move the workflow into another stage, which is assign PIC, right? Then, yep. Now this is actually pending PIC. The workflow is already changed. All right. So basically, this is how you can use M-Files to have some kind of centralized document repository system. So we start from Hubshare. Then all the information will be kept in M-Files, and also we also uh, generate some information from SAP. Then it will be kept into M-Files, and then from that point, you can further continue to apply perhaps maybe your own custom workflow in M-Files. And yep, this is how is it being done if we are talking about the integration of M-Files between the other third-party solutions. All right, and at the end of the day, for example, uh, maybe currently you'll need to purchase an extra license, for instance, for SAP, just to manage some documents such as purchase order. But moving forward, if you have anyone from your team, but they're only responsible to play around with the documents, to manage the documents. So there's no need for them to have that extra license for SAP. Instead, they can just use M-Files, and at the end of the day, everyone will eventually see the same documents, because whenever we click that particular purchase order in SAP, it will redirect them into this M-Files, and yep, they can see all the centralized document management system. All right, I think that's all for today for my session. So if you have any further questions, feel free to ask during the Q&A session after this. All right, thank you very much. Over to you, Jenna.
All right. Thank you so much, Takif. Okay, let me do this. So anyone has any questions on the second session, please feel free to ask your questions on the second session, and we're happy to answer them for you. So we'll just give it a few seconds to see if there's any questions. All right. So one question came in. Okay, the question is, um, can we use other use cases such as HR for the SAP and files integration? I believe this question is for you, Takif.
All right. This is a very good question. So to answer your question, yes, we can configure the SAP and M-Files integration so that it works with other use case as well, and actually it can work with any other use case, because the integration is really flexible, as long as we can map the relevant objects between both M-Files and SAP. So for instance, if we wanted to use HR related object, so for instance, if we have employee object in SAP, we need to map it in the to M-Files employee object as well. So yep, we can uh, pretty much use any other use case for the integration. Yep.
All right. Thank you, Takif. Let's see if there's any other questions. You can type in your questions in the question box if you'd like. Um, there is one question here. Hold on. Um, each staff will get their ID and password for login, right? You mean to log into the system, right? Yes. So for whoever who would like to actually access the system, they will actually have their own ID and also their own password to access the system, whether it is M-Files or even Hubshare, right? Sakif?
Exactly. So so there's a few ways to manage your user ID. So if you are using M-Files user credentials, yep, pretty much each staff can have their own ID and password. But there are also some enterprise they're using Active Directory. So whenever you log in into your, for instance, your Windows device, so you can just use that Windows ID to log in into M-Files as well. So that can be done as well. But yep, to answer your question, yes, each staff can have their own ID and password for them to log in into M-Files.
Right. Thank you, Takif. Let's see if there's any other questions before we end the webinar. All right. So it's I guess there is no more questions for now. So, for everyone who attended for this webinar, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank you for your time today. And the recording session for those, I mean, for those who have registered for this webinar, you'll be receiving the recording session. So, if you have any other questions after the webinar, please feel free to contact us, and we are happy to assist. Even if you would like to discuss further on this solution, please feel free to contact us, and we're happy to set up a meeting with you and your team. So aside from that, that is all from our end. We would like to thank you again. Stay safe and take care. Bye, everyone.